Well, good morning. Pastor Greg here, Faith Lutheran Church, Harvey, North Dakota. It's my midweek message and check-in, I'm glad you're going to stop and take a minute and watch with me or talk with me here this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, whenever you're watching this particular video. Whatever works for you is fine with me. I've moved myself into the sanctuary again because we have these beautiful lilies, a white draped cross, and I just thought we'd get some more use out of them. They're so beautiful to see, and Easter is still just one of my favorite times. Of course, we celebrate the risen Christ, but in the church year, we of course should celebrate that every day of the year. But this is just a great time of the liturgical season for me. So here I am. Glad that you're here with me. Hoping that you're enjoying the day. So what's going on here at the church? Well, right after Easter, things begin to kind of just settle in a little bit. It's not quite as crazy as right before, but we had wonderful number of people who participated in the Monday, Thursday service and the Good Friday service, and Easter morning we had a good crowd at the early service and a nice number of people at the later service. Those two services always kind of flip-flop. Sometimes people go to the early one, sometimes people go to the late one. I can never figure it out, so we'll just take whoever comes when they ever come. And then that opportunity for people to fellowship in between with that light breakfast was a wonderful thing. Thanks to leadership who oversaw all of that and served that breakfast. It was good, just like I said, to see people fellowshipping, people talking, sitting at the tables, and enjoying each other's company. Something that had been missed, I think, overall. So that's good. That's what we've got. That's passed. We're continuing our worships at 10:30 on Sunday morning here live, as well as on. We live stream still as well for those who would prefer to just continue to stay home. Other than that, we are in our spring season here in the Northland, and we're watching the weather closely. Right now, we're very, very dry, and I'll ask for prayers for that later on at the end of my message. So, but it's nice to just know that the weather's warming up, the sun is shining longer, the campgrounds are opening up for those who do summer campground things or go travel during the summer. And of course, school has about 2 months, little less than 2 months left. Here we have only a month left of our Wednesday evening Bible school, and I'll talk more about that next week, I think. In any case, that's really what's going on in the church. And so for Bible, my little Bible, I hate to call it a Bible study because it's really more just my thoughts on where I am with the texts for Sunday. It's not really a Bible study in the sense that I delve deep into it here. We don't have that much time, and certainly sometimes it's just what I'm thinking, not necessarily what's theological about it. And so that's kind of where I am. And it's the Sunday after Easter, and if you follow the liturgical calendar at all, the Sunday after Easter is always the story of Thomas. So if you want to stop and read this, we're reading John 20, 19 through 31, and you can stop and read that if you want to, or again, just plow along with me. We're not too deep into it. Of course, this whole text has to do with Jesus appearing to the disciples. It immediately follows, John's version of this immediately follows Mary, who saw Jesus at the tomb, which is what we celebrated on Sunday. Mary saw Jesus and ran to tell the disciples that she had seen him and that he had said these things to her, and how important that is to remember that's where this text is. And it's that evening that Jesus appears to all of the disciples who are in the locked room. And he appears to them, which is interesting. And I always remind people that Jesus is finding the disciples. The disciples aren't even looking for him. They're more worried about what might happen to them than they are about what the next steps are. And so they hide in a room and they lock the door, and Jesus appears to them. So my thoughts on this really, I want to revolve around Thomas, because Thomas always gets a bad rap. So Thomas isn't there. Okay, so we've all missed the meetings before. We've all not made it to something we were supposed to be at. We might have been doing something else. We might have been tending to our children. We might have been going to the grocery store. It's just, we might be doing any of and all of those things when it comes time to do things. And sometimes we hear about things that happened to them at a meeting or a gathering that we were supposed to be in, and we find out that we missed something cool. Well, that's what happened to Thomas. Thomas missed something cool. He wasn't there. And so we give Thomas a bad rap. We call him Doubting Thomas because, so the disciples tell Thomas that hey, we saw Jesus. How cool was that? And, Thomas, yeah, how cool is that? But, what's the big deal? I don't think, I don't necessarily believe that you saw him. You're just telling me you saw him. And then he says in verse 25, unless I see in his hands, in Jesus' hands, the mark of the nails, and place my finger into the mark of the nails, and place my hand into his side, I will never believe. So what is it about Thomas? Why is he not believing that the disciples had just seen Jesus? Well, they had just seen a man who died. Okay? That just doesn't make any sense. And I said that on last Sunday, it just doesn't make any sense on what's going on. So that's kind of where Thomas is. And so he wants what everybody else got. He just wants to see this risen Jesus who's come back to life. He has to wait a little time, and it says in verse 26 of this John text, 8 days later. So a week later, they're again in the locked room because they're still fearful, and I'm as to what might happen to them, because the Messiah was crucified. But so anyway, they're in this room, and Jesus again, somehow through the locked door, he's there. He arises, and again I remind you that Jesus finds them. They are not seeking Jesus. Jesus finds them. Jesus always finds you, no matter where you are. That's the good news. Any case, here we got Thomas, and Jesus comes in. Jesus finds Thomas specifically in this text. And he says, put your finger here, see my hands, put out your hand, place it in my side. And then Jesus says, do not disbelieve, but believe that he's real, that Jesus has risen, that the physical body is risen from the dead. But the beautiful thing of this text, the way John presents it, is Thomas doesn't touch him. He just says, my Lord and my God. Thomas believes because he's seen the risen Christ now. He's got exactly what the other guys got, and Mary and anybody else who was there. I'm not saying it was just the few disciples, but certainly there could have been other people there. Jesus will always find you especially when you're in the wilderness. And that's the good thing. He found Mary at the tomb. He found the disciples in the locked room. And now he's found Thomas with the disciples in the locked room. And Thomas believes. But where I want to get to today is that verse 29, the second part of it, where Jesus says, blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. That's where we are. We don't get to see the risen Christ in the physical form standing in front of us. But we believe, because somebody else did, that they shared that story, and they shared that story for a long time. So that's kind of where I am with the story. I don't know if I'm going to actually talk on Thomas on Sunday, but I always feel like I need to say that, Thomas is just the guy who missed the meeting, and he just wanted to see what everybody else had seen. And so we have people out there who are seeking, and they don't know where to look. But more than anything, I don't think they know just where to look. It's with themselves, right there next to them, and to listen for that voice of Jesus saying their name. That's where I am with it. I hope that helps some for you. If not, sorry. Any case, that's what I'm going to say about that John text today. So prayers today, I began a little bit earlier in this recording saying that we're short of moisture in this whole upper Midwest area, and so let's pray for rain. Pray for rain that comes at the needed times, and that it provides the needed moisture for the crops to grow, to be a successful harvest, so that we can feed the world as we do from here. So do pray for that the weather to cooperate. Pray for the farmers as they struggle with what steps they need to take, when to plant, if to plant, all those things. It's not as easy as it sounds when you're looking at spending that kind of money to put in the ground. That's an action of faith, if you ask me. So that's what I want us to pray. Of course, pray for those that you want to as well. So blessings to you today. Again, thank you for spending a few minutes with me on this different format, this video format. We're glad that you were able to spend some time with me, and know that I do think about you all, and that you do bring joy to my heart. So blessings and peace to you today, and as I always say, take care.